been able to see how fuzzy the screen looked. I'm going to take a cloth and clean the lens. Now, what lens am I talking about? I'm not talking about these lenses. That's when you take a regular photo. When you're taking a selfie, it's on the screen right at the top. It's just a little dot. And just the corner of a t-shirt will work fine. I have these little microfiber cloths and make sure that's clean. Now I'm going to take the same selfie again. Okay, and I will show you the results. So I'm going into Google Photos, and there is the photo with the dirty lens. There is the photo with the clean lens. All I did between that picture and that picture was clean the lens. Very, very important, especially for selfies. I mean, you should clean this lens too. When you take a regular picture, you should clean this lens, but it doesn't tend to get as dirty as the one that's on the front of your phone. Now, why take selfies? I'm sure some of you are saying, oh, I don't take selfies. I don't like selfies. Well, okay, but I'm not talking about the teenager that is taking glamour shots of themselves. No.
Duck lips.
I say a reason for taking selfies is to have memories with your friends. You're with a group of friends. You want a picture of all of them. You don't want to have to tell one friend to get up and take the picture of the rest of you. A selfie is a way to do that. Or if you're, that's me and Joey at the top, the llama. There was nobody around. I'm communing with this llama. I want a picture, a selfie. Or if you're in famous places, you need to prove that you were there, right? So Stonehenge and the Tower Bridge in London, we are going to take a selfie. If you have had to sort through somebody's old pictures, you know that just the scenic pictures are not worth much. It's the pictures with people. And if the only way to do that is a selfie, do it. Now you do need to be a little bit careful. Notice in that top one, my arm is in the picture. So you should be using an outside arm. In this case, I should have given the phone to Jim and let him take the selfie. And in the second picture, we did have somebody else to take the photo. If somebody offers to take the photo for you, take them up on it. It will almost always be better than the selfie. And why do most people take selfies vertical? Well, I think it's because it's easier to touch the shutter button, to hold it with one hand and touch the shutter button. But I like to get the background. I like to get more than one person. I like to take my selfies horizontal. So I want to show you some other ways to snap the shutter button. The timer is my #1 tip for taking selfies, actually. Notice that there is a timer. That is the little clock right there. So if you tap the little clock, you can choose a 2-second, 5-second, or 10-second. Now I usually choose 2 or 5, but I'm going to choose 10 now because I'm going to keep talking. I tap the 10-second timer. Now I go ahead and tap the shutter button now. Tap it, that starts the timer, and I now have 7 more seconds to position the phone and frame the shot, and then I don't have to tap the shutter button. It did it for me when the timer stopped. Okay, so where is that on the iPhone? In the camera. I do not see a clock right away, but notice this little up arrow. If you tap on that, it reveals another line of options down at the bottom. Tap the little up arrow. Now I have to move over. There's the clock. And I will set it for 10 seconds. I am in selfie mode. I tap the clock. I make sure it's set to 10 seconds. I tap the shutter button. I now have 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But I did not have to use my other arm to tap the shutter button. So, timer. That's my number one tip for taking selfies is the timer. But there are others. Did you know that the volume buttons on your phone are a camera shutter button? So if you're holding the phone in such a way that your thumb is on either the up or the down volume button, you can press that to take a photo. Now the timer is going, so it won't take it until 10 seconds. So I guess that's another tip. Turn the timer off after you've used it.
2 tips in 1.
Yeah, turn the timer off after you've used it so that the next time you go to take a picture, doesn't start the timer.
Bonus tip.
But those volume buttons, I mean, try it right now pick up your phone, go into the camera, and just tap a volume button. Anybody still have earbuds like these? They have volume controls on them. Remember? There's an up and a down volume. So if this is plugged into your phone, you can use these volume buttons as a remote shutter. Then there's voice commands.
Yeah.
On Samsung. There's no voice commands on iPhone, but there is one little one that I will show you. On Samsung, in the camera, under settings, there is shooting methods. Voice commands. Take pictures by saying these words or show your palm. So if those are on, then you can go into the camera and show your palm. It will start a 2-second timer.
Or a 3-second in my case.
Or better yet, smile, and it takes a picture. Now on the iPhone and on the Android, if you have the Google Assistant, the Google Assistant is those 3 bubbles. If I go there and I take a selfie, it starts a 3-second timer and takes a picture. So on the iPhone, you don't have the voice commands, but if you have the Google Assistant, you can do that. Selfie sticks, right? Anybody have a selfie stick? I love this one. Number 1, it can get really long. But it can also be a tripod. So you just put your phone in there, and then you have this little remote. It's Bluetooth. So you have to make sure that your phone is connected to the remote via Bluetooth, and then you can take a picture by pressing that button. And this even comes out. So I could set this up as a tripod a ways away, and I can take the picture with the remote button. And then the last one is using your Apple Watch. This is an Apple iPhone. You should get into the camera and make sure it's on whichever lens you want. You know, the extra wide angle is usually good for selfies. Okay, so here's my Apple Watch. I go to my apps. I have mine arranged alphabetically rather than in that swarm, and you find camera remote. It is showing me what the camera is seeing, what the iPhone is seeing. And when I tap on 3 seconds, it starts a 3-second timer and takes a picture. So I use that for group shots all the time. Now, I just want to show you some selfies and tell you how we took them. So for example, here we are kayaking on the canals of Venice. We have to have a picture of the 2 of us.
That is not photoshopped.
That is not photoshopped, right. Now, how did I do that? That was a time that I did use the selfie stick because I wanted to easily be able to just press a button even though the camera was far away. So that was taken using a selfie stick. Now this one, Jim was just holding his phone out, taking a selfie. The reason I show you this one is to say if you want something in the background, put some distance between you and the thing you want. And this one is just one to say, hey, if you're going to be in some special places, you want pictures of yourself there. Now here is one. I used the selfie stick as a tripod and sat it up, and then I used the little remote. Here is the one that we have a group of friends and Jim takes a selfie so that nobody had to get out of the picture. Now I will take a scenic shot also, but there's no way we're going to be there and not get our faces in the shot too. And another, this was just a passerby. You know, we just grabbed somebody walking on the walking deck of a cruise ship. Now this is a special one. If you are, especially a woman over a certain age, do you notice how my skin doesn't look like it probably really does there? What is it? And I did not retouch this. I did not edit it after the fact. So
There's a special setting on some phones to smooth the wrinkles.
right. On the Samsung, that setting is found underneath those two little squares. Camera, and it's that little button right there, and face. And now you have a slider down here for smoothness. I can turn the smoothness all the way off at 0 or all the way up at 8. I kind of like it all the way up. And I think it must be on by default because I don't remember ever going in here. And that is our tips for taking selfies. I think it's fun.
Better battery management on a phone. I'm Hewie Poplock. The practice of swiping up to close apps on most phones, including Android devices and iPhones, it's now generally considered unnecessary for saving battery time. Both Android and iOS operating systems are designed to efficiently manage background processes and memory usage, making manual less impactful on battery life than previously believed. When you swipe up to close an app, the system may actually restart the app from the beginning when you open it again, which can consume more energy than leaving it in a paused state. The memory management algorithms are optimized to handle app management efficiently and effectively, so manually closing apps may not significantly impact battery life and can even slow down the device by disrupting these algorithms. Minimizing background app refresh does not directly affect switching between recent apps. Here's why. Switching apps. When you switch between recent apps, you're essentially bringing previously used app back to the foreground. The app itself remains suspended in the background unless it's specifically programmed to refresh upon returning to the foreground, which is not related to the background app refresh settings. Background app refresh. This feature controls whether the app can check for updates and new information in the background, even when they're not the active app you're using. Here's an analogy. Imagine your phone's apps like people at a party. Switching between recent apps is like having a conversation with different people at the party. You bring them to the center of attention, but the others are still there in the background. Background app refresh is like giving permission to some people to leave the party briefly to check their phones for updates. These updates might be about new messages, news headlines, or anything specific to the app. So, while both features involve apps, they target different functionalities. Switching recent apps manages which app is actively in use. Background app refresh controls whether apps can run tasks in the background to stay updated. However, there can be an indirect connection. Minimizing background app refresh can improve overall phone performance. This can make switching between recent apps feel smoother and faster. In essence, they are separate features, but background app refresh can have a positive impact on the overall user experience when switching between recent apps. General tips to save battery life on your phone. Identify the battery drain culprit. Both iPhone and Android have built-in battery usage menus that reveal which apps are consuming the most power. Check your phone settings under Battery to identify these apps. Minimize background app refresh. Many apps continue to run in the background even when you're not actively using them. This can drain your battery. On iPhones, you can limit background refresh app by app, and on Android, you can put apps to sleep to restrict background activity. Reduce screen brightness. Your phone screen is a major battery drain. Lowering the brightness level and enabling auto brightness can significantly improve battery life. Shorten screen timeout. The amount of time your screen stays on before automatically locking also impacts battery life. Reduce the auto lock timer to a shorter duration to conserve battery. Mastering background app refresh, the key to better battery life. What is background app refresh? It's a feature that allows apps to check for updates and new information even when you're not actively using them. Examples are email, social media, and news apps. Convenient, but can be a major battery drain. Why does it drain the battery? Apps wake up periodically to connect to the internet and fetch new data. They use processing power and cellular data if enabled. Some apps might use location services in the background, adding another layer of battery drain. Taking control on iPhones. Go to Settings, then General, then Background App Refresh. Your options include Off, Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi and cellular data. App-by-app control. Disable background refresh for specific apps. Taking control on Android. No dedicated background app refresh setting. Put apps to sleep. Settings, Apps and Notifications, or Apps, Advanced, Battery, Enable Battery Optimization, or Restrict Background Activity. Finding the right balance. Consider which apps you need the most up-to-date information from. Adjust background refresh settings accordingly. Manually open the app to check for updates if needed. Here are some additional battery-saving tips. Identify battery drain culprits using the built-in battery usage menus. Reduce screen brightness and shorten screen timeout. Turn off location services and Bluetooth when not in use. Use the low power mode on iPhones. Keep software updated, the operating system and apps. Here's a summary of what we've talked about. Background app refresh is convenient, but can drain your battery. Take control by adjusting settings on the iPhone or on your Android phone. Find the right balance between convenience and battery life. Implement additional battery-saving tips for maximum impact. And that's it.
Taking a closer look at Gemini's integration into Google Docs. Let me start by saying that I'm using Gemini Pro, so I'm paying for it, but the integration is definitely here as part of what shows up when I open up a document. And the document I'm looking at, it gives me a summary of what's in the document. And next it says, how can I make the title more effective? Okay, let's go ahead and click on it and see what it says. My online presence is a more concise and descriptive title for this document as it accurately reflects the content within. Good suggestion. I may just follow that one. Next thing it says is, how can I add an introduction or opening statement to this document? Again, it offers the advice. Let me take a look and see what it has to say. And there is the introduction that it comes up with. What are some of the topics covered in your blog and website? A great way to get additional information without actually having to go to any of the links on this document. What are some of the most popular posts on your blog? Most popular videos? Which playlist is most popular? More details on protecting privacy? Any videos are there on protecting your privacy and security? As you can see, there are lots of things that it can help you with in a simple document, and we can keep going and explore every part of what's on that document. Well, if I wanted to spend all day on here, I can just keep asking it to give me the information it suggests. But as you can see, just from these examples, there are lots and lots of things that Gemini can do on a Google Doc. And I'm sure it'll do the same for all the other things that are part of Google. Stay safe, stay secure. I hope this helps. And thanks for watching and listening.